Alright, so today I'm going to be reviewing The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. And kind of the way this review is going to be set up is the first portion is going to be spoiler free. I'm just going to give kind of my general takes on the book. And then the second portion is going to be the spoiler filled portion. And I'm going to talk about specifics and like kind of my predictions for the next book, all of that. Just to start off, I just wanted to say that I had very high expectations going into the series. I knew very little. I like going into a series fresh. Like I don't like to know anything. I'm really weird about spoilers. And so I didn't know anything. I knew it was 14 books long, which is huge. I think there's a prequel in there, so I think it might be 15 books, but it's definitely 14 books. And I knew that, and I knew it was heavily influenced by Tolkien, which I like because my favorite series is A Game of Thrones, and that is very influenced by Tolkien, and so I, you know, thought it would be good. And this book 100% led up to or met my expectations. It Robert Jordan's writing style was so much fun to read. Is just from the very beginning, from the very first sentence in the first chapter, it is written in just such a like almost poetic way. It was so nice to read and all the way through. Like I haven't looked at all like about like how long it took him to write this book, but I would not be surprised if it took him a while. It is very, very well written, and you can tell that there was a lot of thought that went into this book. And so, a warning if you're going to be reading this book, it is incredibly detailed. There are a lot of characters, there's a lot of places, there, there's a lot to learn. This is the kind of book where you could read it, you could read the whole thing, and then immediately go back and reread it, and you would learn so many things. Like, I was about in the middle of this book, and I went back and I just reread the prologue, and I had such a different understanding of it, and it was like so much better. Like I feel like I'm really looking forward to the reread of this book. Like I probably won't reread it for a while, but I think I'm gonna like really enjoy it. My only criticism, my general criticism, would be the pacing. There were points where it would move like really quickly, and then like it would be really slow, and then like really fast. Like it, I don't know. There was just some parts where I didn't care for the pacing, but overall though, 9 out of 10, like pretty close to 10 out of 10. I feel like this book has the potential to become like one of like my favorite books. Like once I get deeper into the series and like I have a better understanding, like I feel like after the second time I read this book, I'm gonna like love it. Like I already really like it, and I would definitely recommend this book to people who are interested in like the fantasy genre, or even not. Or yeah, probably if you don't like fantasy, you probably wouldn't like this book. But it was really really good, and I would definitely recommend it to most people. The only warning I would give them is that, it's there's a lot of people to pay attention to, and there's a lot of characters to remember. Um, so definitely pay attention while you're reading it. Don't like skim through anything because you will be confused. But no, it had everything you like. It had good characters, good relationships. It had a little bit of political intrigue, not a lot as I usually like, but there is some there, and I think it has potential to for there to be more political intrigue as the book grows and the series grows. Overall, for as far as my spoiler-free review, I think that the it was great. It was really good, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody who is interested. If you're on the fence about starting the series, like oh it's too long, I don't know, it's good. Just read the first book, and I think that you will be hooked. I'm so excited to read the next one. So that's my spoiler-free review. In terms of spoilers, um, so spoiler alert: if you haven't read the book, stop here. Don't watch anymore. Um, but anyway, so I one of the things that I thought was kind of weird, I guess this is a criticism kind of this book, but honestly kind of just movies and books and TV shows in general, is like so when Rand his whole world gets turned upside down and the Trollocs come and they come to his house and they invade, and I feel like he wasn't as shaken up about that as he should have been. I feel like most of the characters were not as like taken aback by that. Like literal monsters like came to his house and like attacked him and like I don't know. Just the people are never as like concerned with that as I feel like they would. Like that changes your whole outlook on the world. Like now you know that like magic is real and like these stories. Like if all of a sudden like Bigfoot came and like attacked my house, I would be very very shocked about that. Um, so that was something that I thought was kind of weird. But overall, I really one of my favorite kind of relationships in the book because this book I feel like it had some really good like friendships, you know, between like Rand and Matt and Perrin, like those three, they all seem really close. Um, but was between Lan and Nynaeve. I really really enjoyed that relationship, and I think that it's gonna grow to be a lot cooler. Um, and I also liked Nynaeve's relationship with Moiraine, however you say her name. Um, I like that how much they hate each other. But I think that that has a chance to grow. As far as predictions, I think because like I think they said at one point that like Lan and Moraine's life are like tied to each other. Like if Moraine dies, then Lan also dies. I think, and so like I think they're kind of setting up um where Nynaeve is gonna have to like choose between like killing Moraine, but if she does, then she also kills Lan. I think that that's what there is. So it's you know that's a difficult choice because she really likes Lan, and then she doesn't like Moraine, like she hates her. Um, so I think that that's kind of where they're going with that. Like we'll see. And then to go deeper into Moraine and kind of the Aes Sedai, however you say the Aes Sedai, I really like the way that like society looks at them. I find it so interesting because like they're so like gray because you don't know like if you're supposed to like them or not because the people don't like them, like they definitely don't like them, but the Aes Sedai are definitely like super against the Dark One and like all the bad guys. So it's like are they good, are they bad, are they're very mixed, you know, and there's so much like mystery about them. Like there's no like male Aes Sedai. Like if you're a male person and you like touch the one power, then you're gonna go crazy. Like that's kind of weird, like that's interesting. So that was a really cool little bit. I love that. I love that there's like, you know, like the queen kind of backs the Aes Sedai, but like the people don't like the Aes Sedai, and then like so there's like, you know, conflict there. That's kind of what I was getting at with the political intrigue. Like I think that there's more potential to build on that. All right, so spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings or you haven't read Lord of the Rings, little few Lord of the Rings spoilers right here. Um but Robert Jordan was so clearly influenced by Tolkien. Like Two Rivers is the Shire, like definitely. Tom dying is Dumbledore dying, and like both of them, you know, Dumbledore came back. Tom is probably gonna come back, and then in Lan is like Aragon. You know, they're both like kings or you know would be kings. You know, um, and so like yeah, you can so clearly see that influence there. So one of my favorite like funny parts is a small part, but it's one of my favorite parts was like Rand when he finally gets like reunited with like you know Egwene and like Moraine and all of them. He's telling them about you know everything, and he gets to the part about like you know when he fell into the garden with like the princess and everything, and he says something about her being beautiful. I think, he says that, and then you know he talks about Elaine this, and then like he finishes his whole story, everything, a bunch of important stuff in there, how he met the queen and everything, and then Egwene is just like, "Who's Elaine?" Like, yeah, oh yeah, who's that? Hmm? She pretty? Hmm? It was just so funny. It was like for such a fantastical like so much fake things in this book. That was like the most realistic part. Like that would be the only detail that she notices. I just thought that that was hilarious. But other than that, no, I'm really excited about this book. I think it's really cool that like I mean I don't it might have supposed to have been obvious from the beginning. I didn't know that like Rand was the dragon. I did not see that coming. Um which I think is kind of cool. I really thought that like it could have been any of the three. I really thought that or it could have been none of the three. Um so that's kind of cool. And then I thought that I like the false dragon, like Logain or Logan, however you say his name. He seemed really cool. Like I don't even think he had any like speaking lines in the book. Like he didn't say anything, but just like the way that Rand described him when he was looking at him, like he stood like a king and everything. Like that was so interesting, and like I want to learn more about him. And whenever the characters would talk about him, you know, he's like gathering his army and he's defeated. I'm like, oh, Well, I wish they'd talk about that more. That seems kind of cool. Um, I'd like to think that we're gonna hear more from Logain. That that's my review for The Eye of the World. So if you haven't read it already, I highly recommend it, and I would give this book a very high rating. This is one of the best books I've ever read. Definitely one of the best fiction books I've ever read. Um, and I probably won't read it again until I finish the whole series at least. But I'm really looking forward to it because I think I'm going to pick up like so many more things than I did this time. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Um, if you liked it, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. If you didn't like something I said, leave a comment below. Let me hear what you didn't like. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thank you.